Okay, I have a quick message for someone tonight. I just was reading a story out of my daughter's Bible, um, children's Bible, and I was just thinking about the story. Well, it's about Adam and Eve, okay? It's about Adam and Eve. We're reading from the story of Adam and Eve. And we know from that story that that
But
God, excuse me, God told Adam and Eve not to eat from the tree of knowledge, right? The tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the snake came and enticed Eve to eat from it. Basically, he told her, like, oh, well, does God really love you? Well, why wouldn't he want you to eat those good fruits, those good and juicy fruits? And so he enticed her, and she started to think, like, well, why can't we eat from that tree? And so she ate, right? And then she gave, stop Nora, she gave her husband some to eat. And so, with all of that being said, we must listen to God, okay? There's voices all around us. There's voices that want to influence us to do things that we shouldn't do. There's voices that want to make us feel like we're not loved. Hold on a second. There's voices that want to tell us things that are not true. And we must hearken to the voice of the Lord, right? The word says, my sheep hear my voice, okay? So God's sheep hear his voice, and the voice of a stranger they will not hear. Now, in this scenario of Adam and Eve, she listened to the voice of the stranger, right? Stranger danger. We talk about this all the time, okay? And so you as a believer need to take a second to the voices that you're listening to, okay? The voice of God, we know the voice of God as his sheep, okay? The voice of God may sound a certain way to you than the next believer, but the voice of God is true. The voice of God brings peace. The voice of God is related to his Bible, to his word, the word of God, okay? Now, the voice of a stranger will tell you things, smooth things, sweet things to entice you, okay? The voice of a stranger will tell you lies, and you must be able to discern those lies as a believer. The voice of a stranger is another point that I wanted to make, is that you've trusted in God all of this time, Eve, Adam. You've walked with God all of this time, and a stranger comes and tell you that God doesn't love you. How can you believe that?